What is the difference between Iron Man and Iron Woman? One is a superhero, and the other is a simple command. Today, I'm going to recap a 2012 action thriller film called The Cold Light of Day. Will Shaw, an enterprising young businessman, journeys to Spain for a vacation with his loved ones. His father, Martin, an esteemed art critic, greets him at the airport despite their strained relationship. As they commute towards the yacht, they find themselves locked in a dispute over Will's constant attention to his mobile phone. Upon reaching the dock, Laurie, Will's mother, welcomes a guest, and the extended family set off to sea, anticipating a relaxed getaway. During dinner, Will's incessant phone calls disrupt the gathering, exasperating his father. Will finally admits to the recent bankruptcy of his firm, which had occurred mere hours prior. The subsequent day, Martin sails the yacht into the open sea, aspiring to engage his sons. Yet Will's relentless attachment to his phone results in an accident injuring Dara, the girlfriend of Will's brother Josh. Frustrated, Martin hurls Will's phone into the ocean, insisting his son deal with his issues later. Seeking a breather, Will retreats to the town from the boat. Meanwhile, Martin grows wary of an unfamiliar boat that has been lingering around their yacht since dawn. His suspicions prove not to be unfounded. Back ashore, Will is puzzled when their yacht is missing. His efforts to glean information from the local fishermen and tourists prove futile, which leads him to a deserted lagoon where he finds their vacant boat. An impending sense of dread washes over Will as he deduces that a grave mishap has befallen his family. He rushes to the local police department, where his pleas initially fall on deaf ears. However, the mention of his surname sparks immediate attention and a flurry of activity. As dusk settles, Will and a troop of policemen reach the spot where the yacht is moored. Will senses the strange behavior of the officers and notices a mysterious individual waiting ashore for him. A gut feeling of peril urges Will to escape from the police, and he seeks refuge in their car. The law enforcement officers swiftly apprehend him, and a violent confrontation ensues, which could have escalated further had Martin not intervened. Martin swiftly whisks his son away from the conflict, revealing in transit that he is not merely an art critic, but a long-standing CIA agent. He discloses that his family has been abducted due to a missing CIA artifact. Martin's phone vibrates with a call from an individual named Carrack, who arranges a meeting despite the late hour. However, before proceeding, they make a detour to a concealed apartment belonging to Will, where Martin surprisingly unveils an array of firearms. Before engaging with Carrack, Shaw records a message for an individual named Diego. Meanwhile, at an undisclosed location, a sniper readies a rifle anticipating the agent's arrival. Martin explains to his son that Carrack is an ally, but insists that Will should stay out of danger and remain in the car. He meets with his colleague, urging her to return the stolen suitcase to the abductors of his family. Carrack pledges to consider the request. However, upon returning to the car, a sniper fires a shot. Will, caught off guard, witnesses his father collapse before him. With no time to process, he manages to snatch his father's phone and firearm and bolts. Answering the ringing phone, Will hears the abductors who strangely refer to his father as Tom. However, he has no time to delve into this mystery, as he finds himself amid a shootout, which leads to a police officer's death and a subsequent chase by the police cavalry. Finding temporary refuge in a public restroom, Will attempts to gather his thoughts and plan his next move. His plan involves seeking help from the embassy, which involves subduing a guard, but his conversation with the special agent proves futile. The embassy denies any employment records of a Martin Shaw. Further, he is informed of his charge of murdering a police officer, and the only help offered by the embassy is the provision of an independent attorney to advocate for him. The attorney's demeanor shifts post a phone call, and he requests Will to meet someone downstairs. Carrack, a mercenary, awaits him and invites him into the car. To allay suspicions, she shares intimate details about Will's childhood that only a close confidant of his father could know. She candidly admits to orchestrating Martin's assassination, but justifies her actions by claiming that Martin's intended betrayal forced her hand. Carrack's probing questions agitate Will, leading him to fake illness and seize the opportunity to escape. To remain inconspicuous to the patrolling police, Will seeks assistance from a stranger who pays his bus fare, allowing him to catch his breath momentarily. Martin's phone rings again with the kidnappers reminding him about the coveted suitcase, maintaining their demands despite Martin's death, threatening the safety of the kidnapped family otherwise. Scrolling through the call log, Will spots Diego's number, frequently contacted by Martin, and decides to seek his assistance. He reaches the provided address, only to be met by an assassin lying in wait. Yet again, Will must resort to self-defense and additionally protect a young girl, Lucia, who shows wariness towards all men. Will informs the girl about her uncle Diego's impending peril, and they proceed towards his residence. However, they arrive too late as Diego, a close friend of Martin's, is found dead. In the apartment, they overhear unfamiliar voices, which are revealed to be Carrack and her loyal henchmen. As they deliberate about Will and plot his demise, Will intervenes, holding the perpetrators at gunpoint. He attempts to extract details about his family's abduction, but an infuriated Lucia disrupts the exchange, allowing Carrack to seize a firearm. The duo is forced to flee through a rooftop escape and descend on wires to evade capture. Following a rough landing, local residents assist Will, who then continues to elude Carrack. Her persistent attempts to exterminate Will, who she deems an unnecessary witness, consistently fail. Lucia notices her boyfriend has sustained a bullet wound and takes him to a friend's art studio. Overwhelmed by pain, Will loses consciousness, but Lucia and her friend successfully attend to his wound. Upon regaining consciousness, Lucia demands to know the situation Will has entangled her in. She expresses astonishment upon seeing a picture of Will's father and confesses his familiarity with Tom, bewildered by Will referring to him as Martin. Will presumes that the young woman might have been his father's lover, but Lucia clarifies that Martin was indeed her father, born out of an extramarital affair with her mother. Will requests his newfound sister to accompany him to the rendezvous with his family's abductors and attempts to learn more about his father's secret life during the journey. Considering the risks, Lucia declines to go with him, but provides him with the address of a club where he can find her post his encounter with the kidnappers. At the designated location, a man disguised as a tourist approaches Will, instructing him to follow. Will is rendered unconscious during the car ride, and upon regaining his senses, finds himself in the room where his family is held captive. The leader of the abductors explains their demand for the suitcase now in Carrack's possession. He assures Will of his family's release if he assists them in locating Carrack and retrieving the prized item. The refusal to comply would result in severe consequences for his family, as Carrack would eliminate the Shaws to erase any potential witnesses. Will is abandoned on the outskirts of the city and makes his way to the club where Lucia awaits him. He encounters resistance from the security guards at the entrance, but mentioning his purpose of visiting Lucia grants him immediate access. Will shares the abductor's plan with Lucia and her friends, where he would act as a decoy leading the criminals to Carrack. Resolved to avenge Diego's death and secure the release of Lucia's newfound family, the group pledges their support to assist Will in his dangerous mission. The young men strategically utilize a credit card, aware that Carrack will promptly trace them through its usage. Indeed, the agent's henchman appears at the club where Lucia's friends cordially invite him for a conversation. Will also partakes in the discussion, successfully extracting the necessary information from the bodyguard. Once done, Will instructs his friends to allow the henchman to escape so that he can tail him, hoping to locate Carrack. To Will's advantage, the henchman inadvertently leads him to an underground parking area, the premeditated location for the suitcase handoff. The duo is joined by gang members with the shared intent of intercepting the suitcase. One of them discreetly enters Lucia's car, notifying her of their allied intentions. Another attempts to convince Will to retreat to safety, but he remains resolute until he discovers the whereabouts of his family. Their heated disagreement inadvertently creates a commotion, alerting Carrack of their presence. After eliminating her associates, she seizes the suitcase and attempts to flee, initiating a fierce gunfight. At one juncture, Will has the opportunity to reclaim the briefcase, but prioritizes saving Lucia and disposing of the henchman Carrack, giving the agent the chance to recover the lost item and depart. Will pursues Carrack across the city, causing considerable destruction along the path. Following an extensive chase, Will attempts to collide with her vehicle, but Carrack skillfully evades, causing the young individuals to crash through a glass window. A frantic Carrack indiscriminately fires at bystanders, and as Will attempts to flee, the tables turn as the agent now pursues him. Recognizing escape as futile, Will manages to intercept Carrack's car, causing it to overturn. Carrack derives sadistic pleasure from observing the injured Will emerging from the wreckage, while Lucia remains unconscious. The villainess confidently assumes that Will's chances to recover the suitcase and rescue his family have dwindled, contemplating his elimination. However, an unexpected shot fired at Carrack interrupts her, and Will recognizes numerous armed men appearing on the scene, including the primary abductor of his family. They swiftly evacuate, taking the young men and the suitcase with them, and leaving behind only Carrack's lifeless body before the arrival of the police. Will is escorted to his family's hideout. En route, the gang leader compliments Martin's exceptional skills as an agent and expresses how proud he would have been of his son. Outside the hospital, Will encounters a clandestine agent who hands him his documents and proposes that he succeeds his father's role within the CIA. Will politely declines the proposition but expresses his curiosity regarding the contents of the briefcase. Regrettably, no one provides him with this confidential information. Will informs Josh about Lucia and suggests that he meet his newfound sister. Laurie stays by Lucia's bedside to provide her with a sense of family and to prevent her from feeling isolated. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. It would be best if you watched the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this.